floods shut down 57 schools in Jigawa, 500 communities vulnerable to infections. Presidency lawmakers set to clash over election funding as Senate retains inserted projects. In international news, mudslide kills 12 people in central Colombia. And in sports, Libya kicks off Uyo camp ahead of Saturday's AFCON qualifiers.
This is ANN News.
I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Flood disasters in Jigawa State are still in the news. This time, 57 schools have been shut down as flood wreaked havoc in 14 local government areas in the state since the last 2 months. Executive Chairman of Jigawa State Universal Basic Board, Salisu Zakara, told newsmen in Dutse on Thursday most of the schools affected are primary and junior secondary schools. Thousands of houses and more than 100,000 hectares of farmland worth millions of naira were submerged and destroyed by the floods. There is also a huge threat of possible cholera outbreak. 40 persons were confirmed dead as a result of the flooding and other related problems. The National Disaster Agency says the death toll from floods across much of the central and southern Nigeria has reached 199, almost doubling the number of people killed 3 weeks earlier. National Emergency Management Agency NEMA says this year's flood has hit 1/3 of Nigeria's 36 states, affecting almost 2 million people and displacing more than 500,000. The Senate has approved the election budget for next year's poll, but discrepancies over the source of funding for the INEC budget has put a wedge between the presidency and the upper chamber. Reports say the Senate disagrees with the president. The INEC's approved election budget should be sourced from the Constituency Intervention Fund. They hold that it should rather come from the Special Intervention Program as provided in the service-wide vote of the 2018 Appropriation Act. President Muhammadu Buhari has asked that INEC's election budget be sourced from the Constituency Intervention Fund to enable INEC and security agencies to conduct next year's general elections. The House of Representatives has discovered 21 billion naira undeclared revenue in 2 separate accounts outside the Treasury single account. Ad hoc committee chairman investigating the management, implementation and level of compliance with the Treasury single account, Abubakar Damburam, says Heritage Bank Managing Director Ifie Sekibo and his counterpart in Nassau Savings, Hassan Husman, have been summoned to appear before the committee over the discovery. Gombe North District Senatorial candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Mohammed Ribadu, has stepped down and handed over the ticket to Governor Ibrahim Dakwambo. Ribadu disclosed this at a rally on Thursday to welcome Governor Dambako back to Gombe after the PDP presidential primary in Port Harcourt. Ribadu says he was stepping down for the governor because he is better qualified to represent the district in the Senate. Ribadu is currently State Commissioner for Special Duties. Irate youth who were protesting the outcome of Wednesday's local government elections in Plateau State have allegedly burnt down 4 houses in Langtang South local government. The youth say they are angry that the results of the polls were not declared at the local government collation center. They said another candidate who did not win the polls was announced as winner instead. The protest turned violent when some youths decided to attack the houses of those they suspected had connived with Placiac officials to steal their mandates. The Federal High Court has warned Senate President Bukola Saraki over the imprisonment proceedings initiated against him by the Delta Central Senator Ovie Omoagege. Omoagege had initiated the committee of proceedings asking the Saraki be sent to prison as punishment for flouting the judgments of the court, which ordered that Omoagege be reinstated and be paid all his accrued benefits for the period of the voided suspension. Justice Dingba said he has given Senate President Bukola Saraki another chance to remedy the alleged wrong or appear in court to defend himself. The Independent National Electoral Commission says no political party has submitted list of candidates. The commission had directed the parties should begin or could begin submitting their list of candidates by Tuesday, following the completion of their primaries. As its weekly meeting on Thursday, the commission noted that none of the 89 registered political parties that notified the commission of their intention to conduct their primaries had submitted the list of its sponsored candidates.
For presidential and National Assembly elections is 10th to 18th October 2018, while governorship and state assembly elections is 22nd October to 2nd November 2018. There will be no extension of time.
Aviation unions have called up their strike action against boycotting aviation services. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority and other security agencies met with the unions and the BASL management on Thursday night, and an agreement was reached for the firm. Both parties agreed that the operator of the Murtala Mohammed Airport Terminal 2 placed the sacked workers on whose behalf the strike was called on redundancy while they negotiate the benefits, among other demands. The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, has started seizing vessels for violating provisions of the cabotage law, which states that Nigerians should be employed on board indigenous shipping vessels. Director of Maritime Labour and Cabotage Services at NIMASA, Ibrahim Jibril, said the agency has also acquired fast intervention vessels to intercept erring vessels. Jibril also said to have an accurate data of available maritime labor in the sector. NIMASA has recently come up with an electronic register of all maritime labor in order to ensure jobs are provided for them in line with the cabotage law. The Council of Chiefs and residents of Ijede have appealed to the Lagos State government to repair all the bad roads in the community. The regent of Ijede, Chief Aliu Musediku, said the deplorable state of the roads have adversely affected economic activities in the community, especially the only roads that connects the community to the city. Musediku said the condition of the roads has also led to the rising rate of auto crashes in the community. Coming up, African stories. DR Congo mine accident kills 30, and later, mudslide kills 12 in central Colombia.
You are watching ANN.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Madam, go and bring us your husband. Okay, hello baby.
We're in this together, okay? Can you hear me? Keep coming forward.
Wait, stop.
You okay, lean to your right. Keep walking down. Keep walking to the left. Yes.
You're almost here.
Keep going.
You are here. Wow, you did it.
I'm just so glad I didn't have to use my cane to do this.
And I am so glad no other man got you before me. Let me be your eyes.
We will never stop working to give you a network you can rely on, so you can enjoy life's special moments. MTN, everywhere you go.
Welcome back. This is NN News. Now to African stories. There are reports of a mine accident in the east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. At least 30 persons are reported killed. A local official says proper searches have only begun on Thursday after a landslide trapped miners at an informal gold mine in Misisi a week ago. There are conflicting reports on the number of miners that have died, but a worker with a local NGO that specializes in the mining sector says at least 37 persons have died. Most of the world has come to believe in and even often demand a Ministry of Defense for each country. But how does it sound to have a government ministry or departments dedicated to peace? Well, that is exactly what Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has done. It is bid to reform the government. The Prime Minister has slashed the number of ministries from 28 to 20. While at it, he created a new one, the Ministry of Peace. Since assuming power in April, he has introduced some sweeping changes, including making peace with Ethiopia's long-time foe, Eritrea. Prime Minister Ahmed has not spelled out the functions of the new ministry, but many believe the mere function, or the mere mention of the name rather, gives away the role it would play. The government's official document simply says the new ministry will do things related to bringing peace and security in the country and that it will strive for the rule of law. A Tanzanian man, Mohamed Deji, said to be Africa's youngest billionaire, has reportedly been kidnapped by masked gunmen in country's main city, Dar es Salaam. The 43-year-old man was said to have been abducted on Thursday outside a swanky hotel gym where he went for his routine morning workout. Police say 3 persons have been arrested and 2 of the abductors are believed to be foreign nationals. Motive for Deji's adoption is still unclear. Forbes magazine has described him as Tanzania's only billionaire whose wealth is reported to be $1.5 billion. Despite his wealth and his celebrity status, he, along with the rest of the Georgia family, is said to be always incredibly relaxed in his approach to security. A massive landslide in eastern Uganda has killed at least 31 persons. Commissioner for Disaster Preparedness and Management, Martin Owa, said the landslides tumbled down onto a small town on the mountain slopes on Thursday after heavy rains, wrecking homes and burying animals. Uganda Red Cross spokesperson Irene Nakasita described the situation as tense, with community members scared and fleeing from their homes. The area close to the border with Kenya is prone to landslides, and there have been several similar accidents in recent years. Residents have resisted government efforts to move them to neighboring districts. An Egyptian military court has sentenced 17 persons to death on Thursday for their involvement in bombing attacks in churches in 2016 and 2017. State news agency MENA reported that 19 others were handed life prison terms for the attacks, which hit churches in Cairo, the Mediterranean city of Alexandria, and the Nile Delta city of Tanta. Air Namibia has reportedly cancelled flights to Zimbabwe after one of its aircraft was impounded by authorities in Harare last week. The airline's spokesperson, Paul Nakawa, said flights to Zimbabwe would be cancelled pending the finalization of the matter. This followed reports that a Zimbabwean man was trying to sue Air Namibia for $1 million after airline officials allegedly barred him and his family from traveling to Turkey. A report says Air Namibia's cancellation of flights to Harare has disrupted travel plans for dozens of Ethiopia-bound passengers. When we return, international news, mudslide kills 12 in central Colombia, and later sport. Libya kicks off camp in New York ahead of Saturday's African qualifiers.
You are watching ANN.
If you know fit go internet or follow for Twitter, you know fit snap photo send or get it photo send. Now because you dey use Palasa, your phone no dey answer. See me see wahala. My brother, go get smartphone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no go for your hand, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone. Phone wey no fit take selfie. Drop that Palasa phone. No be correct phone, yeah. Drop that Palasa phone.
Upgrade to
to a smartphone today and get double data for 6 months on any MTN data bundle you buy. Simply purchase a smartphone from any store anywhere in Nigeria or bring your current smartphone from any network. Insert your MTN SIM card to start enjoying your double data bonus. Offer is open to all new and existing MTN subscribers. Join the largest smartphone movement today.
Make it up for your
Whether in your house, at your office, on your phone or online, we are there. We have the facts behind the headlines. We cut to the chase with the news you really need. We cover every angle. We are the bigger, better news network. We are African News Network. ANN. Watch ANN News on MITV from a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. In global news, Colombia disaster officials say at least 12 people have died in a mudslide that swept their mountainside homes. The slide occurred in the early morning hours of Thursday in the central Colombia town of Marquetalia. The victims were caught while they slept. 4 children were among those killed and 53 others were rescued. Floods and mudslides caused by heavy rains killed dozens of people every year in Colombia. Tornadoes and hailstorms have swept across Queensland in Australia, injuring 4 people and causing widespread damage. The dangerous weather system hit the state's southeast on Thursday, snapping trees and ripping roots from houses in Tansy. 4 people were injured when hail as big as tennis balls shattered car windscreens. Buildings and crops were extensively damaged. The inclement weather also injured animals. South Korean President Moon Jae-in says earlier today North Korean leader Kim Jong-un intends to abolish all nuclear weapons, materials and facilities to achieve complete denuclearization. Moon emphasized the resolve of his northern counterpart's resolve to abandon nuclear and missile programs and to focus on improving his country's economy. To achieve this aim, Kim is asking the regime's security be guaranteed. Washington has become the 20th U.S. state to ban death penalty after its Supreme Court ruled the punishment has been applied in an arbitrary and racially biased manner. The 8 death row inmates currently in the northwestern state had their sentences immediately commuted to life. A total of 23 persons were executed in the U.S. last year, but the state of Washington has not carried out the death penalty since 2010. Australia has assigned a guided missile frigate to the East China Sea to boost international efforts to enforce sanctions against North Korea. Australian Chief of Joint Operations, Air Marshal Mel Herfeld, said despite the easing tensions on the Korean peninsula, Pyongyang has continued with its nuclear and ballistic weapons program in defiance of UN Security Council resolutions. The Australians would work in cooperation with the Japanese, US, Canada and South Korea to enforce sanctions. Up next, sport. Libya Super Eagles kick-off camp in New York ahead of Saturday's AFCON qualifiers. Stay with us.
You are watching ANN.
MTN gives 2,000% bonus for reactivating your MTN SIM. That's right! If you haven't used your MTN SIM for 45 days or more, recharge now and get 2,000% bonus. That's right, 2,000% bonus for your first recharge of every month.
We are on the road every day, canvassing throughout Africa for news you really need. We follow this story everywhere, from every corner of Nigeria to the wide African expanse. We bring you what's making headlines. We connect you with news you can use. ANN, African News Network, in a truly African spirit.
Welcome back. This is ANN News. Now to sport. Libyan football team, the Mediterranean Knights, have arrived in Nigeria and they have begun camp in Uyo to prepare for their 2019 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. The Libyans are top of Group E after their draw against South Africa's Bafana Bafana. Tomorrow's match is crucial to both countries if they are to progress to the Cup of Nations tournament. Kenya marathoner Samuel Kalale was handed a 4-year doping ban after testing positive for blood booster April. 23-year-old Kalale tested positive at April's Rotterdam Marathon, where he finished 7th in 2 hours, 10 minutes and 44 seconds, a personal best. Even with the doping, he still didn't win the race. Too bad. That is the ANN News this evening. Thank you for joining us. For details on this and all the stories, visit our website, annafrica.net. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Have a great weekend.